Hello and welcome to the Upward John Show, where we simplify faith and finance. So I'll start today by reading one of my favorite scriptures, and it's in the book of Philippians chapter 4, verse 12. It says, I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I've learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. I can do all things through him who gives me strength. Life is in seasons, and we go through seasons of abundance, and there's seasons where things become a bit more, things aren't as abundant. So I call it the season of scarcity. But one of the things I've learned is, in seasons of abundance, please, by all means, enjoy life. Make the most of things, but it's also important to remain frugal. And in that season of abundance, it's easy to practice contentment. But when you get to the season of scarcity, where things aren't as easy to get, contentment becomes harder. I remember this last summer just gone. I remember speaking to a few colleagues and we were talking about holidays, and everybody was talking about where they were going to. And someone turned to me and asked me, so where are you guys going this summer holiday? And I said to them, nowhere. And the conversation went a bit further with one of my colleagues, and I said to them, listen, I said, as a family, we've decided we won't go away this summer because we have other priorities, and we just can't afford to do both, prioritize what we consider important and also take a holiday. A holiday can really wait. In exchange, what we decided to do was just take some time off as a family and do things around London and make the most of it. And I can tell you, we had an incredible time. Why have I shared this story? There's the expectation for us to all go away. Everyone goes away during summer holidays, and of course, lots of people kept asking me, rightfully so. No harm in asking, but it was very important for me to remember that, this isn't about keeping up with everybody. Rather, it's about doing what is best for me in this season, or what is best for the family in this season. The world we live in now, the pressure is on. And that is why it's very important for us to cut our coat according to the size of our fabric. The absence of contentment is why many of us feel the need to compare our lives to other people's own. And we feel the need to keep competing with other people just to keep up. The absence of contentment is why many people buy cars that they can't even afford to maintain. Because, there's that part of us that feels, how can people see me coming out of that banger? Don't get me wrong, self-image is very important too. But of course, it's very important to live within your means. The absence of contentment is why many people choose to rent and live in places that they can't afford to even keep up with the rent, just because they want to keep up with the Joneses. How do you learn to practice contentment? Number one, be intentional about learning to walk away from things even when you can afford it. Learning self-deprivation. Just because I have a craving for something does not mean I need to buy it. If all I need right now is one, I don't need to buy 6 just because I can afford it. Learning that discipline of walking away, not just buying just because I can afford it. Rather, learning to actually just buy the one that I need. Or even, not every time I have a want, I need to satisfy that want just because I can afford it. Number 2, surround yourself with people who support and encourage you. If you're in the company of people who judge and condemn and criticize your lifestyle choices because you choose to live within your means, it's a sign that maybe you need to find yourself a new circle. Number 3, learn to plan. I always say this, I was speaking to a friend recently and he said to me, if you have 100,000, live as though you have 50,000, so that when you have 20,000, it won't be a problem at all. Learning to be frugal, even in the seasons of abundance, it helps you and trains your mind to practice contentment. And I'll end this video again by reading this same Bible verse that I started with. And he says, I know what it is to be in need. I know what it is to have plenty. I've learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. I can do all this through him who gives me strength. If you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel, please subscribe so you're one of the first people to know when the next video drops.